Shalom Aleichem Rabotai. Welcome to our Wednesday class on Yalkut Yosef. Last thing we touched was a little bit of hadlakat Nerot Shabbat. We mentioned a little bit of it. Yigal Baruch Haba, we're just starting right now. Last time we touched the tip of hadlakat Nerot Shabbat, and today we're going to dive into it. So what we said last time about Nerot Shabbat, according to the Yalkut Yosef, is that lighting the candles has an owning Shabbat, which gives you pleasure during Shabbat. It also gives honor to the Shabbat, because you're honoring the Shabbat by making it have more light. You're preparing it from before. When we learned the difference between honor and oneg, honor is what you do before, oneg is during the Shabbat. So it has both of them. And it has the idea of shlom bayit. When the lights are on, is a positive thing. It prevents different wars that potentially could happen. And we learned what the Zohar Kadosh says, that especially, shalom aleichem, Nick, that especially on Friday is a time where the evil inclination, the Yetzer Hara, tries to bring the kas, so the Nerot Shabbat has a good way of handling that. So let's continue from there. Says Yalkut Yosef, Yesh la'asot et haner yafe. We should make the candle or the wick or the olive oil, whatever it is, nice. All right. Now, what does it mean nice? Some have a custom to even come before Shabbat and light the wick and then turn it off. So when the woman comes to light the Ner Shabbat, it's already ready and prepared for her, and the flame goes up nicely right away. Right. Some people do that in Chanukah as well. Or some people make sure that the olive oil is a high quality, because you're allowed to light with a lot of different oils. It doesn't even have even a candle, right? But the more you invest in it, it has segulot, it has abilities. So now we're going to touch a few abilities about the Nerot Shabbat. Steve, Baruch haba, welcome as well. A few abilities that the Nerot Shabbat have, so that people have a little bit more kavanah in their mind when they light the Nerot, right? So one of them is, it gives you banim talmidei chachamim. That's one of the things that you can have while lighting the candles properly, all the kavanot that we just mentioned, all the preparations. Orech chaim, a longer life. Umarbe shalom, and it brings peace to the home. V'simcha, it brings happiness to the home. V'shalva, it brings tranquility. Umesugal imshoch parnasa, and through the adlakat nerot Shabbat, you're able to pull down parnasa. That's right, it's recommended to tell the wife, you love me, you want us to have a good life, this is the time. Pray for parnasa, that everything should come smoothly. We should have an easier parnasa so we could focus on the things that we really care about in life. And of course, lighting the candles, as we mentioned, can leharchik hakas v'machloket, could prevent machloket in the house, could prevent anger in the house. All right? So these are the different kavanot that a person should have in mind and understand the importance of it. Soon we'll touch, what happens if one of you is away, who has to light, who doesn't have to light. That was the question that I wrote in the chat. The question of the day, if a man is traveling on business and his wife is lighting for him at home, is it like Hanukkah candles, or maybe Shabbat is a little bit different? So we'll see that, Be'ezrat Hashem. But first of all, how many candles? What is the minimum obligation that we have to light in order for us to fulfill the mitzvah of Adlakat Nerot Shabbat? So says the Yalkut Yosef, Meikar Adin, the dry halacha is one. Lahadlik ner shel Shabbat, you lit one, you did your thing. It says, however, the accepted custom is to light 2 Nerot Shabbat, and he writes, Ve'en mosifim aleim, and don't add more than 2. But after that, he writes, but some have the custom to add according to the amount of the family members. I know a lot of Masharis do that. My wife does that as well. So that's why I felt the need to continue what the Yalkut Yosef says. The recommended right amount is 2, but if you have a custom that is different, I don't know what you guys do, if maybe you do 2, maybe you do according to your family members. Steve, what does your house do, you know?
I think we do that a number of the house members.
Yeah, a lot of Masharis do that. So if you have a custom, of course, then you can continue with the custom. But he's saying here that if someone is, coming into it and it's new to him, then the right way to do it is at least 2. Ve'en mosifim, don't add. But again, if you have a custom,
Danielle, no, I don't know.
Ziv, sorry,
Oh.
quick question. I think we discussed about, I don't know if we discussed here or somewhere else, about Hanukkah candles, how if you're in the house with someone else and for Shabbat, then like one set of candles covers for everybody that's there. What about if it's like for Shabbat candles? If I'm at my in-laws and I sleep there on Friday nights?
Amazing. So this is going to be the hot topic of the day, because this is a very common question. Yeah, we may have touched this before, but it's worth it to repeat it. So since you asked now, we'll repeat it. It may come a little bit earlier, but it's a good time to develop this. So let's answer the question of the day. Regarding Chanukah candles, it's ner ishu beito, which means that the house exempts you. So even if you are away from the home, once the candles are being lit in the house, you are exempt. when it comes to Nerot Shabbat, you are not exempt unless you're samuch al shulchano. Let's say you're someone that lives in your parents' home, and therefore you're samuch, you eat with them, they feed you, they take care of you, so you are in need of their table. That's what samuch al shulchano means. So when they light, you're exempt with them as well. But if you are a son-in-law that's coming for Shabbat, that's not the case. So ideally, what needs to be done is that if you do receive a private room, if they tell you sleep in the living room, different story. But if you receive a private room where you have your own, identity in that room, it's not mixed up with other people or whatever, then in that room, ideally you should be lighting candles where you sleep. You're gonna tell me it's not so easy to do that. Sometimes it's dangerous to light, especially if there are little kids in the room, or in a hotel room. Sometimes a hotel room doesn't allow me to light candles in the room. But since I got a private room on my own entity, doesn't matter if someone is gonna light, if my wife is lighting for me at home and I'm traveling right now and I have my own room. Halacha is it's not like Chanukah. I have to light candles. So how do I do it? So let's begin first of all with the case of the daughter-in-law sleeping by her mother-in-law, because there are a few important halachot to learn around this. So there's a big machloket between the Ashkenazim and Sephardim regarding, do we say a beracha on Tosefet Ora, on adding lights, which means that if the mother of the home already came and lit candles in the living room, let's say, and now the daughter-in-law wants to light. So as we said before, if somehow she's able to light in her room, amazing. Most times it's not relevant, it's very difficult to do that, and she wants to come and light in the living room where her mother-in-law does that, okay? So once she is there, if her mother-in-law already said a beracha and lit candles, she is still obligated to light candles, but she cannot say a beracha according to the Sephardim. Why? Because you are adding light to an existing light. What are we saying, the bracha? L'adlik ner, there's darkness, we're bringing the light. You're not bringing the light anymore, you're adding light to an existing light. To the Sephardim, we don't say beracha. So the right thing for the daughter-in-law to do would be to come and light with no beracha. But if she's, sof maaseh b'machshava tchila, if she knows that she's not lighting in her room, then the best thing to do is when her mother-in-law lights, she'll be next to her. And her mother-in-law will say the beracha, and she'll say amen. So at least she gains kind of oneh kimbarech, like she answers amen, and then she lights. That's the best. So that way, she still hears the beracha of adlakat nerot. She doesn't say it herself, but she's lighting with her, and she's not saying a bracha. She's not lighting as an addition. She's lighting with her mom. It's the same, it's the same point. But if she came after her, absolutely no beracha, no amen, no anything. She just lights without a beracha. By the way, there is an organization in Israel called Machon Tzomet. Machon Tzomet finds, I don't want to say loopholes, but finds way to kosher a lot of things that we have challenges with. For example, a lot of shaving machines, they have a problem, they go too deep in the skin, and halachically it's a problem. Machon Tzomet has a machine where they put, where they put their stamp on it. Once they put their stamp on it, it means that they made sure that when you are shaving, you're not going under the length that the halacha allows, and you have a kosher shaving machine, all right? I'm not talking about a blade, I'm talking about a shaving machine. Some of them go too deep, so you have to be aware of that. Machon Tzomet does a lot of things also for a dishwasher on Shabbat. To those that allow a dishwasher on Shabbat, they put a certain thing that we have that in my house actually. If I have, let's say, a lot of guests and I'm concerned how am I going to have enough dishes for the next morning, so I put the dishwasher on a Shabbat clock, but not just a regular Shabbat clock, because if you put it on a regular Shabbat clock, when you open and close the door, the dishwasher understands that you did that. Machon Tzomet has a thing where they come into the dishwasher and they change the connections so that every time you open and close the door, the dishwasher is not even aware. So you're not opening and closing any circuits while doing that. That's their kosher way of making the machine allowed. Then you put it on a clock inside the machine or through a Shabbat clock. But again, you have to do that disconnect, because as we learned about a fridge as well, every time I open the door, even if I make sure the light doesn't turn on and I put a sticker on the light, there's so many sensors turning on and off when I open the door. And that's why you need to have a Shabbat mode. It's not enough to just turn on the light. I'm talking about the new ones. The old fridges, yeah, it was just a light. Okay, so this Machon Tzomet regarding Shabbat candles has an invention. It's like a small light that you plug into the electricity, right? And today most lights are LEDs. So there's a machloket whether you could say a beracha on an LED or you cannot say a beracha on an LED. right? This machloket would also lead you to understand if the din of LED lights is derabanan or deoraita. So my rabbis, what I learned is that it's derabanan, which means LED light. We use it that it's derabanan, that if I forgot, let's say, the light on in the fridge and it's an LED light, we learned that psik resha delo nichale miderabanan. When I open the fridge, and for sure the light will turn on, but since it's just a light from derabanan, I will be allowed to do that. I forgot the sensors of the alarm on, and I walk into the room and they're going to click on. Since I hold that LED light to derabanan, lo nichale, when it's a derabanan that I don't care for, I don't want that light to turn on. For the Sfaradim, it's mutar. We learned that likatchila you should turn it off before, but if you forgot, you're allowed to go in. For the Ashkenazim, they don't have that. Okay, so back to the trick of the Machon Somet, they put a flame that is actually not LED, because LED, some hold it's the Rabbanan, some hold it's the Oraita, and if it's the Rabbanan, it would mean that when I turn on as a Shabbat candle, I'm not really turning on a light, I'm turning on a LED, which is something else. Halacha L'maaseh, the Yalkut Yosef leans more to believe that that the LED is considered something that you could say a bracha on, but there's a machloket around this. But Machon Somet solved the problem. They created a candle from the old days. It's called Norat Libun in Hebrew. I don't know what they call it in English, but when it's actually considered a flame, it's like a spiral that actually is hot. If you would touch it, it has heat to it, all right? So when you do that, if you're in a hotel room and you want to light Shabbat candles, you say La'adlik ner shel Shabbat with a beracha, you plug it into the electricity, boom. It's a Shabbat candle. There's no danger, nothing can catch fire, it's fully covered. And some of them even have an advanced technology where if it's too much light in the room and you want to go to sleep, you could it has like a cover that you could put on and off so that it doesn't even bother you if you want to go to sleep. So that's a good solution for hotel rooms. But if you do not have that and you are in a hotel, most hotels are not going to allow you to light Shabbat candles in the room. It's a sul. And don't say, I'll wait, I'll stay in the room and I'll make sure no fire catches. No. It's a mitzvah baba avera. You're doing a mitzvah by lighting candles, but you're doing an avera by going over the balabait's rule. The balabait has a rule. You're not allowed to light candles in the room. Don't think you're going to outsmart him. Halacha says you have to listen. So what do? Downstairs and where the dinner place is, you'll see all the women coming, lighting Nerot Shabbat, Lichvot Shabbat. Amazing. According to the Ashkenaziot, no matter if they came first, last, in the middle, at any point that they came, they could come and light with a beracha. Because they hold that they could say a beracha even though they're adding light to an existing light. Sephardiot is a different case. So if a Sephardiya wants to say a beracha while she's in a hotel, she has to be the first one down there to light the candles. Once she's the second one, she cannot say a beracha. Still okay. So you didn't say the beracha, but light the candles. Now, if you get to the finish line with a fellow Ashkenaziya and you're both about to light, the smart thing to do, anybody has an idea, what are you going to tell the Ashkenaziya? There's something you could tell her that you both winners. You tell her, listen, according to Sfaradim, I can't say a bracha if you light before me. Please let me light first. I'll say a beracha. And then once I light, you could still say a beracha. So please wait 5 more seconds. That's a win-win. But sometimes the girl doesn't know if she's Ashkenaziyah, Sfaradiya, her mother, her father, she grew up a certain way. So you have to read the situation to make sure that it's fully, that her father is Ashkenazi, because it goes according to the father. Sometimes the girl married, same chain. But technically, that's the solution. You could do that. So, Igal, did we answer your question or not yet?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, Baruch Hashem. But the rule I want us to all remember here is the idea of Tosefet Torah, adding light. Ashkenazim say a bracha to adding light. We do not say a bracha, but we still do it. And if I'm away in business, as opposed to Nerot Chanukah, I have to light in my hotel room. My wife is lighting at home. Okay, she's lighting at home. It exempts her, but the obligation of Shabbat candles is not like Chanukah. Chanukah is for the home. Shabbat candles is for the people, for the person that have their own private place that they're sleeping.
Quick question. If the mom and the daughter, they say bracha at the same time, is that good or no? The lighting the same. No?
It's not good. It's better that the mother said Sheda beracha, give her the kavod, the daughter answers amen. It's as if she said the beracha because she answers amen, onekim barech. But two saying the beracha at the same time, not recommended, no. Better that the mother only does it. All right. Now, we were talking about the amount of candles. This is how this all began. So the amount of candles, as we said, is recommended is 2, but somewhat light according to the family. Let's say my family, my wife lights according to us and the kids. Now, what happens? He says, Yalkut Yosef, if one day a woman, it's difficult for her to light, let's say she lights 6 candles, okay? It's difficult.
Ziv,
Yeah.
why is it, what's the issue with lighting more than 2 candles? Why do they say not to add more?
So I hear your question. I was thinking the same thing. I mean, why would it be a minus? So obviously, according to the opinion that you are allowed to light, according to the family members, there's no minus. Maybe according to the opinion that the custom is Nerot Shabbat, plural is 2. So everybody should be 2. So why should one house be different than the other? I guess, that's the idea. Don't make changes. Keep the custom, the ancient custom as it is. But since your home has already a new custom, and we assume that our customs are based on something that is logical, not just, like the famous story that in one shul, everybody would say modim, but instead of saying it to the Mizrach wall, to the eastern wall, they would say it to the wall on the south. So one time someone came and asked, what's going on over here? Why are you all saying it to that wall? No, this is our custom. We say modim to the south. No one understood until one day when they were doing renovations and they fixed the wall, they saw that engraved in that southern wall was the Modim de Rabbanan. So when everybody would read it, they would just turn to there and they thought that's the right way to do it. We have to do Modim de Rabbanan to this. It's not. So a custom has to be based on something right. Since the Yalkut Yosef brings it, obviously it's based on something right, that there is logic in doing that, lighting according to the family members, but the wide thing that halacha requires you is 2, and it should be that everybody's the same. If you do differently, you have what to rely on. Now,
Sorry, Ziv, but you said also 1 is enough, no?
Minadim, even 1 is enough, but the custom, the worldwide custom, let's call it like that, is 2. All right? Yeah, 1 should be enough. If you're stuck and you also only have 1, of course you still say a beracha. Right? The beracha is the adlik ner shel Shabbat. Even 1 gets the beracha. Now, if a woman for some reason wants to go down from 6 candles to 2, it could be one of 2 options. 1, because she's stuck somewhere in a hotel or in a different country and she can't get her hands on 6 candles. She can only get 2. What does she do? Of course, she'll light them with the bracha as we learned. But does she have to do atarat nedarim? Because you should know, once you do something regularly and now you want to change it, you need to do atarat nedarim. If it's a good thing, if it's a mitzvah, not if every morning I have a cup of coffee and now I don't drink coffee, atarat nedarim, of course not. But when it's a mitzvah, when it's something positive, by doing it 3 times, it creates a neder. Side note, that's what we do on Erev Rosh Hashanah. We do atarat nedarim also for the future. We say, and everything that I will do 3 times that I didn't have in mind to take it upon myself as a neder, I mevatel the neder from now. So most of us are in a state where we kind of canceled our nedarim. Everybody that did that properly before Rosh Hashanah, it's a future bitul. So during the year, if you have a neder, not a neder that you verbalized, a neder that happened by doing 3 things positively, if you did it before Rosh Hashanah, you read that nusach that we read where it's canceled, then you don't have to worry about it. But theoretically, let's say a woman did it, whatever it is, she did not do it, and now she wants to go down to 2. So says the Yalkut Yosef, if it's just a one-time thing, she does not need a tarat nedarim. Why? But she's going down to 2 intentionally. She knows this is what I'm doing. Halacha is, a tarat nedarim is required only when you want to change the way that you're doing things. She doesn't want to change it. When she goes back home next week, she's going to light 6 candles again. If it's a one-time incident, she does not have to do a tarat nedarim, and it's perfectly fine. It doesn't mean she canceled her neder. But if she wants to change it from now on, let's say a family it's hard for them economically to pay for oil for 6 and they go down to 2 every week. This is something they want to save on, theoretically, then they would have to do a tarat nedarim, says the Yalkut Yosef. Right? Next topic is what Igal was asking us about a man. If he's away, who lights? Is he exempt? We extended it. Igal's question was more about the mother-in-law with the daughter, but so we touched that already. The woman lights at her home, but the husband lights as well at his business trip. Now, what happens with a bachur, a yeshiva boy? He's sleeping in a yeshiva, he's sleeping in school, he's dorming. Does he have to light a candle in his room? So the answer is yes. He needs to light a candle in his room with a beracha. He's no longer under the house where his mother exempts him. He has his own private room. He's sleeping there, and therefore he needs to light with a beracha. And something important that maybe not a lot of people know. But let's say he lights the candle with a beracha, and then he goes down to dinner, and he's having a long dinner Friday night with his friends and the whatever. Now he comes back to the room, the candle already turned off. That's a b'diavad, he did a bracha lebatala. Because the idea of lighting candles is so that I'll have certain joy of it. The light will help me. I'll learn Torah with it. It'll bring peace to the room, whatever it is. But if I'm lighting and I'm running out and I'm not going to enjoy it when I come back, then that's a problem. Why did I say beracha? So to answer a question that wasn't asked, but theoretically it could have been asked, what if we don't sleep at our in-laws? We are at home. Our in-laws invited us for Friday night dinner. So what do? We can go there and we could listen to their hadlakat nerot, but we're not really exempt because where are we sleeping? We're sleeping back in our home. The right thing to do, again, if possible, safety-wise, but the right thing to do is, before you leave the home, you light nerot in your home with a beracha, adlik ner shel Shabbat. I'm reminding you, we, Sfaradi women, we do not accept Shabbat upon lighting candles. We accept Shabbat upon Shabbat entering. So she could light a candle and still drive to her in-laws, theoretically, okay? But while doing that, she has to put enough oil so that it will last, that when she comes back from the dinner, the oil will still be on over there, which is sometimes a challenge. So if you have that situation, you got to be aware and put enough oil, put extra oil, or if it can't work with an oil, light with a ner neshama that lasts for 24 hours. Do something so that you won't say beracha levatala, because you need to do the beracha, but you have to enjoy the light. If you don't enjoy it, it's a problem.
Steve, can you light the candle and sit for like 10-15 minutes, enjoy the lights, and then leave?
So theoretically, yes, but I'll tell you what the challenge of that is that when you're lighting the candles, it's not so much Shabbat. It's still light outside and the darkness didn't come. So if you're there for a longer time where already it was Seta Kochavim and still you were there in the room, then yeah, you enjoyed it. But if you're lighting and it's still light outside and you say, I'll stay here 5 more minutes, then I'll go, not so kosher. Understand the problem? It has to be a light that gave the pleasure of light to the room. Okay? So
Wait, Ziv, isn't it also if you light too early, Shabbat does start for you, even if it's not your intention? Meaning before.
all right, so good question. We'll touch that. Again, if it's just a few minutes before Shabbat, up to half an hour, let's say, before Shabbat, then according to Ashkenaziot, they accept Shabbat. According to Sfaradiot, we do not accept Shabbat. But good point. If a woman, let's say, for some reason knows that she has to go somewhere and she's lighting candles more than half hour, that's the criteria. More than half hour before Shabbat entered. Shabbat's at 4:30. She's like, I'm lighting at 4 o'clock. Then doesn't matter what she has in mind or doesn't have in mind. Automatically, she accepted Shabbat because it's already too big of a gap that, okay, I still didn't accept it. I'm just lighting. I'll accept it later. When it's a big gap, Halakha says you have to accept it now. If anybody can explain the logic to me why exactly that is, I'll appreciate it. I'll love to learn that from you guys. But I know that that's the halakha. That's the halakha. More than half hour, already she accepted Shabbat if she likes it or does not like it. So thanks for commenting because that's a thing to point out. Usually we don't light. I wish we have the zchut to light more than half hour before Shabbat, but usually that doesn't happen. If you light on time in my home, that's already an achievement, Shabbat's a difficult, it's a challenge. As we learned, the Yetzer Hara comes and tries to do a lot of balagan. But Simon, you wanted to say something? No? Okay,
Ziv, is that more than 30 minutes before sunset or 30 minutes before candle lighting time?
Ooh, good question. Homework. Thank you for that.
Because if it's before candle lighting time, it's really only an extra 12 minutes before.
Right. No, so it's probably, I don't want to answer for my sleep. It gave me a good question. Okay, very good. Good question. Maybe Hashem will try to get back to that next week, inshallah. All right, so a man business trip, we said. A boy learning in yeshiva. Okay, now, as we said, there's an obligation to light candles over there. What if there's 6 boys in the room? They're dorming back to back. That happens all the time. Halakha is one will light, but everybody's Yitzeh de Chuva with that light, because at the end of the day, that's their room where they're sleeping. So when he lights, everybody answer amen, and they are exempt with him. Daughter-in-law in her mother's house, we mentioned. If a woman is in a hospital, then she has to light as well. The husband lights at home. A woman that just gave birth in the room, if you can get her that light from Machon Tzomet, if you're interested in this, next time you visit Israel, look at Machon Tzomet, buy a few of those. It could be Could be saving you from many difficult situations. All right, now there's something called a knas. A knas is a penalty. Who gets a penalty? A woman that had a custom of lighting candles, and one time she missed it. She didn't make it on time. Shabbat entered, she was running, she didn't light candles. Hey, Shabbat's over, I want to light. No, sorry, Shabbat's already in, you cannot light candles right now. So what happened? So it says the Yalkut Yosef, in the past, a woman like that would get a penalty. What was her penalty? Her penalty was she has to light an extra candle for her whole life. Her custom was to light 6. Now every Shabbat she has to light 7 candles. Why 6? It's her and her husband, 4 kids. 6 is enough. Why 7? No, 1 is because one time I forgot, penalty for life. Says the Yalkut Yosef, it's true that used to be the custom. However, since today we have electricity in every home, then you don't really give a kanas, you don't give a penalty, because at the end of the day, what's the purpose? To give light to the house? We cannot be so strict on the woman because there are other lights. Everybody has light switches. We still light the Shabbat candles as the custom is. But if she missed it, we cannot give her a penalty because she didn't really make the house dark. At the end of the day, the house had enough light and it functioned. So therefore, he says, today we do not give a knas. If any asks you, I forgot lighting a candle. Ask her, wait, was there other light in the house? Yeah. Okay. So you did it. Do teshuvah. B'ezrat Hashem, next week be on time, but no penalty for you. All right. Now, a question. Ask the Yalkut Yosef. He says like this. If we learn that the Shabbat candle is there to give us pleasure to the Shabbat, right? It gives us light so we can handle the Shabbat better. So what do we learn from here? That we say a beracha on pleasure. The purpose is to have pleasure on Shabbat, to bring oneg, to bring shalom, whatever it is. If that's what we're trying to do, then we learn from here that we say a beracha on pleasure. Ask the Yalkut Yosef, if that's the case, then how come we shouldn't say a beracha on each meal that we eat on Shabbat? The meals with delicacies and fish and meat and soup and whatever it is. Pleasure. So I'm saying the beracha al oneg Shabbat. Maybe I should say a beracha as well. So he brings down the Meiri. The Meiri was one of the great Rabbanim that wrote a huge commentary on the entire Shas called Beta Bechira. Genius. And the Meiri touches this point and says that since the light is rosh lekol ha'ta'anugot, you know what that means? The light is the head of all the pleasures in the world. I know maybe some people may think differently, but the Meiri, he saw light as the greatest pleasure of them all. I guess without light, today, without light, whatever, we figure it out. But back in the day, the world turned off at 5 o'clock. Sunset, that's it. No one did anything. Today, it's a little bit different. But since the light was rosh lekol ha'ta'anugot, therefore, even though it's pleasure, but that's the only pleasure. Choose one pleasure, the best pleasure. On that we say beracha, and therefore we could say l'adlik ner Shabbat, even though the light brings pleasure. However, there's another opinion. The other opinion says, you know why you say a beracha on Nerot Shabbat, even though it's pleasure, and usually we don't say beracha on pleasure, just like on meals, because the candles of Shabbat are not just pleasure for Shabbat, but they're also kavod Shabbat, something that you're preparing towards the Shabbat. So it's preparation, plus during Shabbat itself, you're going to have pleasure. So since it's 2 for the price of 1, you have 2 good things that are happening here. And even though it's pleasure, but since another thing kicks in, which is the kavod Shabbat as well, as opposed to a meal. A meal is owning in that moment, right? So since you have 2 together, therefore you could say a beracha, it's 2 in 1. So again, let's repeat this. 2 opinions why we say a beracha on lighting a candle, which gives us pleasure. Opinion number 1, yeah, even though it's pleasure, but it's the head of all pleasure, says the Meiri, and therefore it gets a beracha. Second opinion says, no, really for pleasure, we don't say beracha, but since it's a special pleasure that comes combined with kavod leShabbat, therefore it's 2 for 1, and we should say a beracha on it. Let's conclude with the last topic of the day. When do we say the beracha? Before lighting the candles or after lighting the candles? So the custom of I call it Mishpachat Yosef, the family of Rabbi Ovadia Yosef, is we have to say a beracha before we light the candles, just like everything else. Eat an apple, boil pri ha'etz, and you light. When you eat, take a bite. He says the same thing. However, some disagree. Some mashadis disagree as well. A lot of women, their custom was, first of all, to light, tend to say the beracha. The Rama also holds like that. But halacha lema'aseh, says the Yalkut Yosef, don't be scared to change the custom of your ancestors, even if you're Mashadi. He didn't say that, I'm saying that. Even if you're Mashadi, don't be scared, because the right way, just like everything else we do, is we first say the beracha, and then we light the candles. But of course, I'm not here to change any minhagim. I'm just telling you what the Yalkut Yosef is saying.
Jiva, I'm scared of my wife and my mother-in-law, so I'm definitely not going there.
We're all in the same boat. We're all scared of our life. So it depends. My wife, when she learned this, she told me, you know what, if this is what the Rav Avadia says, okay, let's do it like that. But some women, no, my grandma used to do that. You tell her, she'll get upset, then she won't. So okay, you have to be smart. You know, depending on the person how they accept it.
Thank you, Jiva.
All right,
Exactly.
Baruch, thank you.